Hello everyone, I would like to welcome you to the fifth webinar organized by Project MDNet, When Brand Meet People. I'm Ana Mandić from University of Mostar, partner from Bosnia and Herzegovina. This webinar is recorded and will be streamed and will be posted on our YouTube channel, so please subscribe and ring bell for further notice. MDNet gathers 13 partners from 9 different countries. With Campania region as a lead. Project is supported by European Regional Development Fund. Mediterranean diet, it's not just food and eating habits, it's a way of life. So main project objective is to strengthen exploitation of Mediterranean diet by combining old ideas and tradition with new ideas or innovation and innovative tools. Today's webinar is called Food Safety Issues for Industry During COVID-19. It will be presented by Anita Juric, Assistant Professor at the Faculty of Agriculture and Food Technology, University of Mostar. Anita is a nutrition and food engineering graduate and postgraduate from University of Mostar. She built her career in industry and at the same time at academia, working as food technologist in beer industry, but also working as young researcher at university. Since 2019, she is fully employed by faculty, works on research and also in teaching subjects like foodborne hazards and so on. She is also trained in food quality management system for food industry. She was awarded for the best business idea in agriculture and food technology by Chamber of Commerce of Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina, and also won Startup Academy at Interreg Technology Park Mostar, supported by US Embassy by Bosnia and Herzegovina. During the whole presentation, you can ask questions in the chat and I will check them and summarize them for Professor Anita to answer them later. I'm happy that Anita agreed on this seminar with us, and I would like to give her words, and she will now present her presentation. As I said, later on we will answer the questions. Anita, please.
Thank you, Anna. Greetings to all from rainy Mostar. So I will start. As Anna said, the subject of today's webinar is food safety issues for industry during this, if you can call it, pandemic, COVID-19. So we all know that industries in today's world have many issues, but the main issues that they have to solve are food safety. So, and COVID-19 has really changed the way we interact with and produce food. So industries are confronted with many food safety issues due to this new virus. I will start with my lecture with FAO's recommendations to mitigate the risks of the pandemic on food safety. So first recommendation is to keep international trade open and take measures that protect their food supply chain. The example is to obtain inputs such as seeds to assure smallholder farmers to have access to markets to sell their products. The second recommendation that FAO gave is to focus on the needs of the most vulnerable and scale up social protection programs, including cash transfers. What does this mean? This means to focus on the countries that usually have problems with food safety. So we have to take care of the most vulnerable, of poor countries such as Africa. What is also important, what is the third recommendation of FAO, is to keep the domestic food supply value chains alive and functioning. So we should keep agriculture especially alive. we also need, every country needs to take all necessary precautions, continue to provide smallholders with seeds and planting materials, provide livestock breeders with animal feed, and aquaculture inputs to the fish farmers. Keeping agricultural supply chains alive by any means, while the safety and well-being of everyone working along the food chain is protected. So we should protect the workers, we should protect that the production process goes smoothly. This is very hard. This was very hard, and it is still hard during this pandemic. So many food companies are facing difficulties. Some of them face difficulties due to the drop in revenue, while others are working around the clock to continue to meet the growing demand from retailers. So there are many expectations from food industry in this time. I can say, this is my opinion, but I think it's opinion of everyone who is working in food chain, and I think it's also opinion of consumers, that the food industry is a crucial sector. What does this mean? Food industry is critical to daily life, so we all need to eat every day. So this means that even it's a hard time during COVID-19, the negative impact shouldn't be seen in food industry compared to other sectors like tourism and aviation. A short period of time in the production process, they had to ensure the protection of employees' health and availability and the smooth production process. So they had to provide measures to protect employees working in food industry from COVID-19 virus infection by improving hygiene and disinfection practice and preventing exposure to virus transmission. What does this mean? We all know that each industry has or it would have to have food safety management systems, which are based on the principles of hazard analysis and critical control point determination to manage food safety risks and prevent food contamination. So they had to pay more attention to these parts of hygiene, disinfection procedures, and preventing exposure to virus transmission. It was, I think, very hard to protect workers from the virus, but I think food industry managed to do this. So if you are not familiar, I will just say what does this what these food safety management systems imply. So they imply good hygiene practices, cleaning and disinfection, and zoning of processing space. It's in these programs, the control of suppliers, storage, distribution, and transport is controlled, and environmental hygiene in industry must be provided. So what were the precaution measures that were done in food industries? For example,
you help me with the presentation. I don't know which slide do you need. Is this
precaution measures? I think it's 11.
Okay.
And I think slide, I will tell you. You will just show. This is not important to see. You will just show when I show the workers that slide, the clothes. So when I'm talking about this, you can show this. So what were the precaution measures? The precaution measures was to divide shifts. What was done in one shift now is done in 2 shifts. So everything was completely divided. The entrance, the canteen, the toilets, exits, all separate for each shift. The industries had to implement a list of people who have been in contact with employees every day. So you can imagine how much time the quality managers have to use to provide all of these requests. So a maximum of 2 people was able to be in the office, and the distance between them was 2 meters. So, and all of the meetings, as we held it today, were held via Zoom or Hangouts Meet. So Anna, if you can show the slides with the close, how did the workers worked in the industry during this period? It will be very useful. So you can imagine how much effort did the workers use to provide us with safe food time to consumers. So as you can see, they are wearing protective clothes. I don't know how can they breathe inside of most of the clothes they usually wear while they are working in the industry. So they need to gloves, which were changed more often. They also have this on their legs, and they also had this mask on their face, and even below this mask they had another mask. So we should say thank you to them because they put a lot of effort to continue with their work. As we said, the food industry is a crucial sector. It's necessary for everyday life. The antiseptics were placed all over the space, and we should conclude the most important thing was for the workers to be responsible. What was forbidden and still is forbidden are handshakes, and whoever felt system must have stayed at home and get tested. So what are the symptoms? I think it's not bad to repeat what are the symptoms of COVID-19. So what are the symptoms? The symptoms for fever are fever, dry cough, tiredness, sore throat, loss of taste or smell, and headache. One thing that was especially hard for food industry and still is that because of the panic of pandemic at the start of the COVID, as you remember, people started to buy too much food, and on the supply side, we still have enough food. For example, we still have global grain stocks are enough, but this could be quickly depleted as the virus disrupts food production and distribution. So, as I said, we should pay, and Paul recommended, we should pay much attention to farmers and agriculture sector. There are shortages of animal feed, fertilizers, and pesticides, and this have increased both the cost of farming and the risk of bad harvests. What is also difficult for the global market is that labor shortages are becoming increasingly apparent since cross-border travel restrictions are affecting the world and disrupting the normal seasonal cycle of migrant farm workers, and even transportation shortages, which are making it more challenging to get products to the markets. And there is a task in front of the farmers to reconfigure their supply chain. What does this mean? This means that they should change their market and not selling it directly to bulk wholesale, but which are currently closed, but to restaurants, hotels, and schools, and toward grocery stores and home delivery. Some major food producing countries have already imposed exports, what are other countries working? They are stockpiling food through isolated imports. This food protection may seem like a good way to provide relief to the most vulnerable segments of the population, but simultaneous interventions by many governments can result in a global food price surge. So Anna, if you can show the slide with the pictures. I don't know with the slide with the picture of our products produced at our faculty. Do you have it?
No, actually I don't. Unfortunately, I don't.
Okay, I will try to share it. Okay, sorry for this. Okay, because I had there was shown that we had some kind of mistake. So I just want to say that this time of hard time for everyone, we should see opportunities for domestic production. And I want to show you what is produced on our faculty and what is produced in many Mediterranean countries, I guess, and what we should support. So we should support the people that are producing wine. So as you can see, we have a vineyard. We also have different kinds of fruits. We have olives. We even produce soaps. So we also have, these are pigs. We produce different kinds of liquors, honey, and what I want to say to consumers, I also hope we are all consumers, but I also there are here also people who are not in this sector, who are not working daily in this, to buy locally and think globally. And what is important to say, we all need to raise awareness of buying this food that we have. So I would conclude with saying that food on the market that is available is safe. So you are safe with eating this food. I hope that you have seen how much effort is into this from the side of the food industry, and so buy the food that you find on the market and don't worry about the supplies. I would thank you for attention, and I'm ready for questions.
Okay, Anita, thank you for your presentation. Unfortunately, we had some problems in connection, bad connection, and so on. It's raining today in Mostar, so it's always a problem with connection. We have few questions. Manuel asked, is there any risk to get the virus through the food products?
To transfer COVID-19 through food.
Okay, thank you. The second question is by all those measures that were obligatory. Do you think that all workers in the industry were able to comply with hygiene requirements, and whether they had the opportunity to be supplied with all hygienic materials and everything that they should supposed to have?
I think they were, because as I shown you on the slide, there was disinfection everywhere, and they were supplied with this equipment that they needed to we had to provide workers with it, because I communicated with the industries not just in my country but also in other countries, and these are the data that I gained from that.
What about disinfection tunnels? Should the processing facility need to have those tunnels at the facility entrance?
Yes, I think it's very good to have this, because at the entrance in the plant, you should pass through the disinfection tunnels.
But they do not need to have.
They don't need to have, but I would recommend that they have it if they have possibilities. And I think countries, the governments, maybe should support industries in this sense, if possible.
So regarding last question about actually regarding questions about transferring COVID-19 with in food, what do you think? Is it possible to be in risk when sharing food on the table and so on, eating together and something like that?
I think you should avoid this at least a little bit more with the people who is not your family at the moment, but there is a risk, because you know that the virus is also spread through saliva, and if you use the same plates, everything, there is a risk, especially if there is no 2 meters of distance between you, and I'm sure when you are sitting and eating with somebody, there is not the 2 meters.
Yeah.
So you should avoid this. Just be patient for one more period of time, I would say.
What about wrapping, like plastic, paper, and so on, around the products? Are they safe?
You know, there were done many researches, and they still don't know how much time does the plastic stays on the plastic, how much the virus stays on the plastic or on the glass. So you should be careful with this. You know, when you buy food, you have, if it's possible, you have to wash it a little bit, and then you have to you are not supposed to eat it right away, because sometimes it's needed that if the virus is present, at least 24 hours not to eat this. So be careful also with this.
Can cleaning and sanitizing supplies, can they be used after the expiration date?
Yes, they can be used, but they are not efficient as they were before the expiry date. So you should be careful, because I wouldn't recommend to use this in the industries, because you don't know which dose should you apply. So you can use it, but check which is the efficiency of that supply that you want to use. You can do it in the lab or engage some lab to do it for you. Okay.
Do you foresee changes in the food production industry after COVID-19?
Foresee, Ana, možeš li samo što znači foresee?
Vidiš li promjene u...
Sorry, I didn't know what does the foresee mean, so I ask Anna. Thank you. Yes, I see foresee, especially in this period when we are not still safe in the terms of this virus, even though I think everybody think it's finished. I think food industries will breathe after this is done, because I think it's very hard to provide workers, to be provided with healthy workers. They still have problems with transportation. They have problems with lacking of workers, because the borders are not still totally open. So I can see the changes. As we all see, some are working more, and some of them even have a drop in revenue. So I think it's very hard for food industry at this time. it's also hard for agriculture and farming, because I think they even have even more problems with weeds, fertilizer, pesticides, because there is a lack of market of these products. So I think it's hard.
So do you think those changes and new habits and trends, will they stay after the pandemic, or will food industry go back to before?
I think, sorry, I didn't hear the last part.
So will they changes, will they stay, or the food industry will go back on the old ways? Is it possible to go back on the old ways, or some changes will stay forever?
I think there is a high level of safety in food industry, meaning hygiene and disinfection procedures. So I think this is usual for food industries, but the workers will not have to carry these masks, double masks, and they will not have to wash their hands. So people working in the industries are used to this high level of hygiene, disinfection, and so on, but they even have to do it more now. So I think when everything is back to normal, they will just return to the typical measures, which are also strict, but not so strict.
There is one interesting question. Hordi said, can animals raised for food or animal products be source of infection with COVID-19? Do you have any knowledge on that?
Unfortunately, I don't, because I didn't think there is not much scientific research at this moment regarding this subject. But I heard that this virus is not spread through food, so I hope not.
Okay, since we don't have any more questions, I think that we can conclude it. So thank you, Anita. I'm sorry that we have these technical problems, but there is nothing we can do there. So thank you, Anita, for your webinar, and thank you all for coming and attending this webinar with us. I would also like to invite you all to stay tuned on our social media, because we are keeping up with our presentations and webinars. So we will have another webinar as soon as next Thursday about business opportunity in America with Mediterranean diet. And I think it will be very interesting, and I invite you all to come and to learn something new. So as I said before, please stay tuned and follow us, subscribe yourself on all of our social media. So wish you all the best. I think that will be all for this time. Bye. See you next week.
Bye.